Well, I want to talk about silver again, and this is making a fashion statement for bicycles. Bicycles actually is one of your best things you can make save some money on. Actually, you make some money because you're not spending money. That's one way you could say you're making money, right? Transportation, oil prices going up, and I just want to point some other things out. Actually, I have to say something with Lindsey Williams. Like, I don't trust the guy all the way, and I think part of the problem with him is that you're getting information filtered through him that he gets from this elite guy. And let me say this. I kind of know what the hell he's talking about with a lot of things because I've seen some weird shit that not too many people seen, but I have a different way of thinking than most people. He kind of like panics. So when he tells you something, he gets all emotional and, oh, they're going to do this. It doesn't happen right away. It doesn't happen right away. And, I want to say this also about with silver. It's not your only investment in the world. The bicycle could be a good investment. I talked about this before. But don't be afraid to sell it. Like today, I sold off platinum on the brokerage accounts. I kept the physical. I'm not selling any physical. But I sold off platinum on the brokerage accounts. It could be a mistake. I don't know. But it's been up to this point. Looking at this net Dania chart, it's been up to this point a few times before. And I can tell you this. There's people out there betting big on the volatility index that it's going to go way up. The VIX, right? And if you're betting big on a VIX, that means you're betting that the market's going to go down. Now, holding gold while the market goes down might be a safer bet. Holding platinum, no, that is not a safe bet. If the markets tank, platinum's going to tank with it. Maybe silver a little bit too, but gold, not necessarily. Not necessarily. So I dumped out of the platinum. I figured I took a gain. And, since I'm somebody into health, and this is Team Wiggle, by the way. Nice name for a bicycle team, right? A female bicycle team, Team Wiggle. I mean, I don't know if I couldn't have thought of a better name myself, but I don't know if that's the name of the product or whatever. But I thought I'd show this. The one thing is I'm so much into health, like I recommend, bicycle as transportation, also health, because investing is about your whole life. Money is not the whole thing. Health is actually more important than money, but you really need money for health, right? So, what I'm going to do with some of the money I got from the gain on the platinum is to buy one of those magnetic pulsars from Soda Instruments, which I found actually has a lot more uses out there because I was able to determine other things it did from how they used it on cats, dogs, and horses, which they can't claim they do for humans. So, this is what I have to say. If you make some money on speculating a little bit on the commodities, maybe you buy a bicycle, maybe you buy some health items or stock up on some food and this type of stuff. Don't get too much one way on silver, So I made a gain on platinum, so goodbye. Thank you. Anyway, now also, I want to point this out. This is a nice, interesting map of public lands, federal and Indian mineral rights and lands in the USA. A lot of it's in the national parks. Now, this is a very, very interesting article on this because it confirms a lot what Lindsey Williams said, but I knew a lot what Lindsey Williams says, and I could probably tell you more than he knows. But I'm not in contact with somebody, like some elite guy and all that, but there's some stuff I do know that, let me put it this way. I don't think nobody really has the exact numbers publicly of what's out there as far as minerals in the United States. I think that's more or less secret government information. And I don't think the United States is going to go broke. They might screw the American public by holding the U.S. dollar, but they'll reissue another dollar that, will come out later that will be backed by all the minerals and oil rights that we have in the United States, which is plenty, a lot more than you think. Now, this is from the Institute for Energy Research, and you can see this map. You can look at this. I'll post a link. You can take a look at it, but I just want to go over a couple key points on it because everybody's worried about the national debt, like the United States is going to go to oblivion. They might this deal with Lindsey Williams talking about coming out with a new dollar backed by oil. That's true. At least it's true of some of the elite, right? At least it's true of some of the elite. But like we have 10.4 billion barrels of oil and 8.6 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, right? 86 billion barrels of oil and 420 trillion cubic feet of natural gas in the outer continental shelf of the lower U.S. states right offshore. Now, this is another biggie. This is all, actually, this I didn't get into, but it's actually, this is in the national parks. In Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming, it's in national parks, but in a national emergency, they can do anything they want, right? But the thing is, they're not going to be able to extract it by snapping their fingers. It's going to take a lot of money to get going on this, but there's 982 billion barrels of shale, almost a trillion, in the Green River Formation in Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. And you're not even talking about the Bakken Reserve, and you're not even talking about in California, and there's a hell of a lot more than that. So, there's more oil and natural gas in the United States to pay the national debt over 8 times. 8 times, okay? So, there's a lot to be said in that statement. So, does that mean the United States is going to go down? Nope, not at all. The only way the United States can go down is if it gets involved in a hot war and the military loses. That's the way the United States can go down. But economically, we got so much oil reserves, and we do have gold reserves and silver reserves and all this type of stuff. Now, today, platinum took a good jump, so I dumped it. I figured, I wish I got in there at 1,400 and dumped it at over 1,700. I got in there at 1,600, but I'll take it. And I'll just wait for a pullback and anything else. If there's no pullback, I'll sell. If I start making, if silver goes up to $40 or whatever, electronically or more, I'll sell. But I have to state that this Dow Jones being up at 14,000 and people making big bets on a volatility index means that there's a pretty good bet that Dow is going to get hammered here at some point in time, maybe in February. And, it could get hammered twice. It could get hammered like what Mark Farber says, possibly in February, but then it can get hammered big time in the summer. So, if platinum takes a dive and it goes down to 1650 or something, maybe I'll buy it again. But, as far as, right now, I'm just going to sit on the cash and wait. And, I'm going to, something else though, with silver, there's a possibility it could go down a little bit. I don't think it's going down at 22 and stuff, but if the markets crash, silver can take a hard correction for a couple of days. But I don't think it's going to do bad this year at all. I don't think you're going to see 15, 18, 22 and all this kind of garbage. I don't even think you're going to see 26. It might get down at 30, 29, 50 or something, but that's about it. And if it gets down like that low, I'll probably buy it. I'll probably buy it. Or maybe not, because I already have it. I don't know. But, I'm not afraid to sell on gains. And I'm going to sit back and wait on the physical metals, because there probably is going to be a reset of the currency at one side at this point in time. And you can see the writing on the wall. But does that mean the United States is going to go down? No, not at all. Because there's too much in the way of natural resources out there where they can just pull them out of the ground. And they do have a large government payroll. I mean, even the military could probably do it with Army engineers and all this type of stuff where they could be, shoring up the national debt or, if there's a time of government crisis or something like that. Because there's plenty of it out there. Now, there's something else I've heard. I'm not going to say who I heard it from, but supposedly there isn't ways to tell from satellites using frequencies and all this other garbage. And I don't know what the hell they do, but there's ways that the government actually knows exactly what's in the ground. Like they'll know how many diamonds are located anywhere in the world. In South Africa, they'll know how much gold is in the ground, copper, with a lot more accuracy than, and it's not public information. So, that's one thing when we go on the internet and we actually look up something and we say there's this much silver left on the earth and stuff, that's probably not perfect information. And it's, like I says, if silver goes up too high in relation to other assets, they find ways around it and they have demand destruction. But if you're listening to me, I'm going to tell you this. Just like from the old girl here, is chilling out on a bike, because you got to relax about this stuff. Um, when you're buying silver, don't think of it as a lifetime hold, forever. Do part with this stuff at a time. You might want to save some of the things as collectors and stuff, or just keep some of it around, because you don't want to get rid of all of it. But there will be a time when the middle class panics into the metal, and it's going to be aided by all these silver bloggers out there, the sky's falling and everything else, and you better get rid of every single dollar you have. That's not correct. That's not correct. You don't want to go into all one investment or anything like that. Like I said many times, the bicycle can be a better investment than a roll of silver. To roll a 20 roll of silver by far. That can return you many, many times more than 20 roll of silver ever will. Depends. It depends, though, if you're afraid to part with the silver or not. Because say silver goes up to $200 an ounce, say it goes to $500 an ounce. If you're afraid to sell it, and bicycles are still $500, you could buy 20 bicycles, right? But the problem is, if you're afraid to sell it, you never got the 20 bicycles, have you? And I think that's going to be the major problem with the middle class. For the most part, the majority is going to get ripped off on gold and silver. The majority will. Right now, people, I'm telling you, hold the stuff. Hold the physical. I mean, I don't feel too good about buying more of it right now, to tell you the truth. There could be a little bit of a dip, because I'm seeing a lot of speculation about the VIX going up, and the markets are too high. Gold, I'd feel a little safer about buying right now than silver. But if you have none, buy it. But if you're already stacked up, I wouldn't necessarily be adding the position right now. I would. Just be patient like a cat. There can always be a pullback. And you got to remember this, too. It's the percentage moves. Say silver, silver takes off like crazy, and you're pissed off that you didn't add to your position. And it went up to 45, and then it pulled back to 38. And you're thinking, oh, I could have. But it's the volatility where you make the money on. And right now, silver's sitting so damn flat that it's either going to go down hard or up hard. And I think overall it's going up hard, but if there's a quick market correction, you could see a little bit below 30, just a little bit. So, don't keep adding the position all the time. Think about other investments, and sometimes you just got to be patient and hold fiat. Hold it. Don't, it's a little bit boring, to hold fiat and say just hold fiat, but sometimes that's what you want to do. You don't want to just jump on a bandwagon every single time you're out there. And right now, I talk about bicycles being a good investment, but right now, it probably is a really good investment due to like the Sandy Hook shooting and all the stuff that they're playing up around trying to push with gun control. It's probably buying guns. You could probably have a super investment with guns right now. So, if we could put guns on a chart here, if we said, if you bought an AR-15 back here, and it'd probably be below the bottom here if you bought it like some years ago, and then when Obama says he tries to put some kind of restrictions on it, it's going to go right through the roof. So, don't get a one-track mind on silver. And I have to say this too. Don't trust anybody who tells you your only safety is in physical silver. That's a liar. That's a liar. I mean, it's a deliberate liar. They're telling you some garbage you want to hear. And like I said, too, right now, if you look in the economy, we do use fiat currency right now to trade everything with it. I know it's paper. It's not backed by anything. It's backed by the full faith of the credit of the U.S. government, which looks bad. But another way. The potential is there to actually back up the debt with metals we have in the ground. It's just that they're just not going to jump out of the ground real quick. Something else I want to point out here, too. Eric Sprott is in the right place. Eric Sprott is in the right place with mining. And, a lot of people are afraid to buy the mining stocks right now because they can even go lower. They could. I don't know. But you know what? It looks like the only way out of the national debt is to do a hell of a lot of mining. And existing mining companies are going to be going like a bat out of hell, when the currencies start really collapsing. So that's really what's going to shore up the U.S. again, is what it always shored it up, was our natural resources. It's just the fact that we're going to have to actually dig them up. So oil companies and mining stocks are probably going to do pretty well in the future. So, commodities are going to do well. But the United States, the only way the United States can actually go down where it's going to go like a third world country would be the defeat of its military. Because then somebody can actually come in and take what we have here on our lands. So, but, with all the gun owners in the United States, that might not be too easy to do. So, in a lot of ways, the elite are stupid, and we got to keep them straight, because the elite are only elite because we allow them to be the elite, and that's another word I have to say, because if there ever was a defeat of the American military on our lands, the elite would need us big time, and we'd be the only thing standing between them and the other elite on the other side of the world. So there you go. But just chill out, because it's a patient waiting game. I recommend that, when you're waiting around with this silver stuff, maybe concentrate a little more on health, exercise, that type of stuff. And, it's not something that you're going to get rich on right away, but there's going to be times when it's going to go explosive. Silver will go explosive at times. Then you're going to be afraid to sell it. Don't be afraid to sell it. Keep thinking about the next move. One thing I keep recommending is the two-wheel transportation. But, it could be health items. It could be, I'm going to pick up a Soda Instruments magnetic pulsar and order one for myself, because, I've made some money on platinum. I figure I'll use some of that profit for that. And that's a smart investment. Your investments in the future don't have to necessarily be metals all the time. So that's just my update. So chill out. We might see a slight pullback. I don't know, but just relax. And remember, keep some fiat money on hand. You never know.